Hi, I'm Shaul. One of the videos on this channel has sparked a lively discussion on the Fred Miranda site. That video mentioned the relations between optical design, specifically the chemistry of glass used in a lens, and the perception of depth, or more specifically, the representation of curvatures and the sense of volume, of weight that can be perceptually assigned to objects. The reactions to that video on the discussion range between resigned curiosity and utter dismissal, even ridicule. For me, it was a good reality check because the regular viewers of this channel generally more or less accept this idea, but in the outside world it's considered a new hypothesis that is not widely recognized as yet. The main criticism was that this idea does not represent, maybe contradicts established knowledge. The established knowledge about representation of depth in a two-dimensional image mentions a few cues that help us perceive depth in a scene. The first one is geometrical, specifically linear perspective. Closer objects look larger to us than further away ones. That principle was used over generations in drawings and paintings to represent the depth of scenes. Through the use of diagonals, mainly, to portray differences in distance over a continuum of distances. Other type of perspective are mainly atmospheric perspective, where the contrast is stronger the closer things are to our eyes. At the distance, atmospheric haze tends to diminish contrast, so things look more washed out. Another type of cue is tonal cue. Brighter things, especially when they have a warmer color than the rest of the scene, appear closer to our eyes. That illusion enables us to portray differences in distance through lighting. Classical painters like Rembrandt or Goya used it to a great effect, and photographers tend to use artificial lighting to brighten up the subject and bring them closer. Another way to accentuate the depth is by differences in sharpness. Sharper things tend to look closer to us because they have higher contrast than blurred things that are typically in the foreground or in the background of our subject. But through the cultural aspect of photography, we know that differences in sharpness represent differences in distance. Optics that have a shallow depth of field, especially telephotos, can portray the depth of a scene through abrupt blurring of things in front and behind that focal point. The abruptness of the fall off in sharpness can be intensified by optical flaws such as field curvature and spherical aberrations, which is also a known established fact. However, the correct representation of curvature has not really been addressed in the photographic community, and to my eyes it's an important cue for the volume and the weight of objects, especially organic objects that have complex geometries. If you read the discussion on Fred Miranda, you may come under the impression that the function of science is restricted to confirmation of established knowledge through established methods in a new field. Well, I must admit this is an important aspect of science. Most scientists are involved in such work. For example, in pharma. A typical research would be confirming that a drug that works on mice might work on humans too. But this is only part of what scientists do. And it's not the interesting part either. The other part is making an observation that cannot be quite explained by established theory, and suggesting a hypothesis that may explain this theory. Now, you cannot always confirm it immediately by the methodology that is available or established. So you need to develop new tools, or at least use some empirical methods that are not quite measurable, that are not very accurate, to confirm your theory. In human sciences or social sciences, we use perceptual evidence. We ask humans to stress their opinion in an unbiased test, and we treat human biology or human brain as a black box. And when the sample size is large enough, it's enough to conclude that there are or aren't any differences between two specimens or more generated by different methods and displaying the phenomenon you are interested in different ways. According to some questionnaires I ran among the viewers of this site, 80 to 85% of people can perceive the effect of 3D pop, which is a term I do not like to use. I feel awkward when using it because it's not very well defined. It's confusing. So I would rather use expressions like true to life portrayal. But anyway, a majority of viewers can perceive this effect in a two-dimensional image. Other evidence include what happens with video games, with computer-generated imagery that is intrinsically perfect imagery that does not suffer from any optical aberrations. By applying simulated optical flaws, you do convince the viewer that it is a photographic image, or at least a simulated photographic image. Computer game designers have always applied some simulated chromatic aberration to increase the perception of depth. If you are a gamer, you can probably apply or remove the simulated chromatic aberrations from your favorite video game through the settings. So try and remove it to see whether there is any change in the realistic appearance of the game running on the screen in front of your eyes as a result of applying or removing this optical flaw. Other evidence that supports the hypothesis that chromatic aberration does increase the realistic appearance of images is the behavior of some lens manufacturers. Some of them started introducing lines of lenses that are devoid of any extra low dispersion glass. And I think it has a good reason, because all modern lenses are designed to be perfect. to represent the world in a clinical way, in a way that is very accurate, very scientific. But that trend removes any natural appearance from the photographs we take. So some of the manufacturers of optics have started introducing lenses that do not try to fight chromatic aberrations, and those lenses are indeed more poppy. They do represent the world in a true-to-life manner. If you think about it carefully, it makes perfect sense to try to imitate the optical attributes of our eyes in the lenses we use for photography. Specifically, you can assign the same refractive index and Abbe number, which is dispersion coefficient of our eyes in optical lenses through the use of appropriate types of glass. So it is the chemistry of the glass that really affects the chemistry of the image, or the true-to-life portrayal of the scene on that two-dimensional surface of the photographic image. The hypothesis that chromatic aberration affects the perception of depth is also supported by a known phenomenon, which is chromostereopsis. Different colors are perceived as being spaced at different distances from us. Red colors are perceived as closer to us than blue colors. Finally, this hypothesis has been confirmed by viewers of this channel who took the trouble to analyze the lenses they have. They looked at the designs, they looked at the results obtained by those lenses, and they do report that lenses that are more prone to chromatic aberration do portray the scene in a more natural, more true-to-life manner than lenses that have a lot of low dispersion glass that fight chromatic aberration in a more comprehensive way. So in conclusion, despite the ridicule and the criticism, I stand by this hypothesis. There's quite a lot of evidence to support it. Now, unfortunately, there are no good methods of confirming it in an instrumental, measurable manner. So there is no proof that this relation between chromatic aberration and depth perception indeed exists. But until someone who is a great expert than I am comes up with a measurable way to confirm or disprove this hypothesis, I think we might accept it. The perception of depth, or the perception of distances in a scene, is best portrayed in deep, vast scenes that contain a continuum of distances, both in front and behind your subject, where you can play with depth of field, with lighting that accentuate your subject, and with other compositional principles. It is made evident when objects in the scene assume the natural look, the natural perception of our own vision, which is made possible by the presence of chromatic aberration. Only when all of these elements exist in a photograph, you do obtain a true to life, a really natural portrayal of that scene. When the scene is flatter, try to make a photograph in a confined space, or when there is not much difference in sharpness due to either a short focal length or a small aperture. The correct portrayal of volume through the presence of chromatic aberrations become more important. Again, especially when you try to represent a natural or organic object that has a fractal geometry, then chromatic aberration becomes crucial to display your subject in a correct manner. And that is all for today. So thank you for watching, and please tell me what you think in the comment section. See you again soon.